and I'm a fan of yours, even though I did not like the replacement of your governorship.
Yeah, well, I didn't vote for him, so.
The question I have is, there appears to be a war against democracy, a war against freedom, and a war against wealth creation. And it seems to attract younger people who are uneducated or who demonize success. And the question I have for you, is this election about the party ideologies, or could it be hijacked by the Democrats in terms of embracing the Bernie Sanders Pocahontas narrative?
Well, listen, I don't think this is a left of center country.
It's not, but it could
Well,
surprise us.
Well, listen, we can always be surprised about anything, but you're asking what my view is. My view is that right now, that's all you're hearing because the Democrats have center stage. The president's being the president. He's doing his job every day to deal with those issues. Don't get concerned about that ideology until it's a one-on-one race. Remember that politics and elections are always a binary choice. We don't get to vote for who we want to vote for. We get to vote for who's left. Right? So eventually there'll be two people left in this race, the president and whoever the Democrats nominate. That's when people will focus. That's when people will really listen. Right now, all you hear is just a cacophony of liberal socialist voices on that stage arguing with each other about who can be the most liberal, who can be the most socialist. The president and the Republicans have not been able yet to engage in that fight because they're not on the stage. So I don't think so. And by the way, about young people, here's the good thing and the bad thing. The good thing is that the younger voter is our hope for the future. The bad news for the Democrats is they don't usually vote. So, you know, the old saying, like if you're in your 20s and you're not a Democrat, you don't have a heart. And if you're in your 40s and you're not a Republican, you don't have a brain. You know, there is no question that younger people, not having had to pay taxes yet, not having had to earn a living yet, definitely tend to skew more left. But what we also know is that those voters generally tend not to vote. They generally tend not to turn out. And so the only way they will is if there's someone who really inspires them. Barack Obama in 2008, because of his unique historic position and his ability as a politician, inspired a turnout that was much greater than most turnouts are, and certainly with young people, a much larger one. He got a much smaller one in 2012 from young people after he actually governed. Right, so I wouldn't be all that worried about that yet. Let's worry about it when, from a Republican perspective, when you see the binary choice. And then I think it becomes a lot clearer for people to see who's for what and what that would mean for them. And then they start to focus on who they're going to vote on, I think. Yes, sir.
In terms of foreign policy, it seems that Trump's positions are not traditional positions. Do you think that's going to be something that's going to be the administration go back to traditional Republican policy after him? Or do you think that he's actually changed the Republican positions on what's on the
The question, if you didn't hear it in the back, was on foreign policy, Trump's position seems to be not in line with traditional Republican foreign policy positions. And do I think this represents a temporary change just under Trump or a permanent change in Republican policy positions? I think it's temporary. The president is a unique character in American political history. He's certainly a unique figure in today. And I don't think that he's made a permanent change to the Republican Party. The president was only became a member of the Republican Party about a month before he announced for office. Right? So this is not somebody who's deeply steeped in Republican politics in New York State. I'm looking at Cox. It wasn't like Donald Trump was at every one of these things. We in fact know that Donald Trump donated to Chuck Schumer. We know that Donald Trump donated to Hillary Clinton. So this is not somebody who has steeped himself traditionally as a Republican. I think he agrees with Republican positions more than he does Democrats at this stage of his life. But on the foreign policy front, I don't think this is a permanent change. I think that there are more Republicans who think along the foreign policy lines that are traditional Republican positions that agree with some of the president's positions. But I also know that when you have a president of your party, there is one hymnal. The president writes the hymnal, and the party sings from the hymnal. That's the way this country works. And so when he's the leader, people, unless they have marked principled objections, are going to stay in line with what the president wants them to do. And the opposition party will be opposed to whatever the president wants to do. Even if, they previously had some of those positions, like on trade, right? Democrats had a lot of the same positions that Donald Trump has had on trade. Now all of a sudden they're critical of Trump on trade. I'm like, I don't know, I listened to these Democrats for years, they wanted tariffs and protectionism and to protect jobs in America and all the rest of that. Now Trump's saying it, now all of a sudden they're opposed to it. So I think it's much more temporary than it is permanent. And it is part of the personality of the president. And people are following the personality, I think, just as much as they're following any particular policy. Yes, sir, in the back.
Thank you. Do you see any possibility of Trump dismissing Pence and asking Nikki Haley to run for president? I think that could be a win-win.
One, I say no chance, and two, I don't think it would make a damn difference. I disagree with you. No one votes for the vice president. No one votes for the vice president in a general election. They just don't. Nobody cares. Now, a vice president can repel people, as we saw a little bit with Sarah Palin, where there were a number of people who didn't vote for McCain because they felt so concerned about his Palin choice. But I've never seen a choice, unless they were stealing votes, like Lyndon Johnson did. Now that was a good choice. Lyndon Johnson stole a whole bunch of votes in Texas that won Jack Kennedy in Texas in 1960. No doubt about that when you read the history of it. Johnson led the cheating parade in Texas that won Texas for John Kennedy, who otherwise would not have won Texas, in my view, under any scenario, but I mean Lyndon Johnson. Nikki Haley's, first of all, that's a woe-begone era that doesn't really happen anymore, except in Jersey City, New Jersey. And it also is not something that Nikki Haley can provide. She's from South Carolina. Donald Trump will win South Carolina by double digits easily. And otherwise, no one's going to say, oh, wow, Nikki Haley's the vice president now. Now I definitely am going to vote for Trump. Pence will be the vice president. Pence has been about as loyal a vice president as you could ask for. I don't remember him ever disagreeing with the president in public, or even having it reported that privately he's disagreed with the president. And I think I know the president likes the vice president and respects him. So this is, I think, just, media and political driven parlor games. And no one votes for the VP. Everybody votes for whoever's at the top of the ticket. I would challenge a lot of people to even remember who Hillary Clinton's running mate was. And that was only 3 years ago. I bet you there's a bunch of people in this room who don't remember who he was. Yes, sir.
How much longer do you think your successor in that state should be on and push their approach to taxes and spending before fleeing taxpayers really make meaningful taxation?
Well, the question was, how much longer can my successor, Governor Cuomo in New York, and new governor in Connecticut, how long can they continue to push taxes up and not have people flee? Some people are already fleeing. In New Jersey is the largest net departure state in the country. Over the last 2 years that Phil Murphy has been in office, he's just been saved by the legislature. Imagine this, that a Democratic legislature is refusing to raise taxes as much as a Democratic governor wants them to in New Jersey. And I thought the Senate president made a very good point the other day. He wrote an op-ed over the 4th of July weekend that said, Phil Murphy says he wants to make New Jersey Massachusetts. He said, well, Massachusetts' top income tax rate is 5.05%, and New Jersey's is now 10.75%. So is Phil Murphy saying that Massachusetts is soft on taxes? That they're too easy on the rich? I don't think Massachusetts has ever had that reputation. Right? So I think that the problem is going to be that Connecticut, you can see the businesses, major businesses fleeing and going where? To Massachusetts. Right? There's a relative range of where people will go. And they've got someone said to me today, well, look at what New York did. Businesses are going to be going to New Jersey. I said, no, they're not. Because New Jersey's just like kind of half a step behind New York in some of this. And in some places, we're ahead. We have a higher income tax rate and state income tax rate in New Jersey than you have in New York now. So I think it's going to be a real problem for all three of these states going forward if they continue on this path. And it's extraordinary to me that voters in all three states continue to kind of mindlessly just go this direction, because ultimately what you're going to wind up with is states that are not going to be able to attract the economy. In New Jersey now we're getting rid of, we have gotten rid of tax incentives too. So now it's like, come to New Jersey, you can pay the highest taxes, and for business, if you'd like to get tax incentives, go to the other 49 states. Because every one of the other 49 states has tax incentive programs now. New Jersey's the only one who doesn't. Pretty extraordinary. And I'll say one last thing about just a little advertisement now for my old state. Remember something, we have a millionaire's tax in New Jersey. And the millionaire's tax is at 9%. But in New Jersey, the millionaire's tax starts at $500,000. See, so people say, why would you possibly do that? Or why wouldn't you call it a half millionaire's tax? Well, here's why. Because in New Jersey, we want you, even if you're not a millionaire, we want you to feel like one. So even if you're only halfway to millionaire status, we say, come to New Jersey, we'll tax you like a millionaire. You can tell all your friends, hey, I pay the millionaire's tax. You don't have to tell them that you don't actually make $1 million. How the hell would they know? They speak English, right? So they think millionaire's tax means millionaires. This is the crazy stuff that's going on in this region, and it is damaging this region in ways, and I will tell you, that combined with the new federal tax law that doesn't allow all of us any longer to deduct our state and local taxes, by the way, which I think is a good idea, by the way, on a federal level. I think I do, even though I'm paying like crazy now, right? But I think it's a bad idea for the federal government to subsidize irresponsible conduct by state officials. You want to price yourself out of the market? Price yourself out of the market. But, people in Pennsylvania shouldn't have to pay for the fact that they have a 3% income tax and New Jersey has a 10 3/4. Why should they subsidize that? Why should they subsidize property taxes in Connecticut? I don't think they should have to. And I think what it will force is exactly what you saw in New Jersey this year. Democratic legislators said, we can't do this. We can't raise taxes again because we can't deduct them anymore. They actually said that was their reason for not voting for it. Because remember, when I was governor, they voted for it 5 times. You know why that is too, right? It was a free vote. They knew I was going to veto it. So they go to all their liberal constituency groups and go, see, we voted for the higher tax. Because they knew I was going to veto it. The first time now, twice, last year and this year, that the governor asked for that millionaire's tax that they voted for 5 times, they wouldn't give it to him either time. Because even Democrats in the legislature in New Jersey are beginning to understand that we've reached a tipping point. So this is not an advertisement to leave, but it is a cautionary tale about what's coming. Because people who think that the SALT deduction is coming back, there's not the votes in the Congress to do that. There's not enough votes in California, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and Illinois. Those are the 5 states that really care the most about this. Not enough votes there to return it. So I think we got to be ready for a lot tougher times, and what we need to do is demand for people who are in office in these states that they recognize the changing atmosphere and that they adjust accordingly, or they're going to kill the states that many of us grew up in, and I think all of us really love. So thanks for having me today. I appreciate it very much.
Well, I told you he was a great speaker. Don't go anywhere just yet. We have one more thing.
Don't leave just yet. We have we have one more thing. One of our steadiest members, he's not here today, but today's July 10th, is Mayor David Dinkin's birthday. And he's been coming to every lunch for the last 20 years, And, you know, he's getting older, but today's his birthday. We have a birthday cake. And to accept on behalf of David Dinkins, one of his staunch supporters, Paul Byrne. Paul, come on up.